Saddam Hussein thought that he was the reincarnation of Nebuchadnezzar, one of the Anunnaki of the King's List, right? And he was rebuilding Babylon into a theme park, an Anunnaki theme park. And if you guys Google it, you'll find the remnants of the structure. He had weapons of mass destruction, they said. But if you're looking for weapons of mass destruction, why are the first places that you went and invaded museums and bunkers where they had relics? And why are you raiding the theme park?
What if I told you that everything you know is just the beginning? Beyond the veil of the ordinary lies a realm of hidden knowledge, ancient wisdom, and untapped potential. A place where consciousness expands, reality bends, and the impossible becomes possible. You weren't meant to stay asleep. You were meant to awaken. Open your mind, remember who you truly are, and step with me beyond the frequency 369. Hey, before we start the episode, if you're on YouTube or Rumble, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. You want to make a comment? Go for it. It's America. If you catch me on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, hit me with those 5 stars. I appreciate the support. Let's start the show. All right, everyone, buckle up because today's episode is going to be a wild, wise, and wonderfully weird ride. Just the way we like it here on Beyond the Frequency 369. My guest today is not your average digital creator. She's a force of nature wrapped in cosmic sparkle. You've probably seen her on TikTok or Instagram dropping knowledge bombs about the Anunnaki, Lilith, ancient mystery schools, or maybe you've seen her showing love to her rescue bunnies and ferrets like the divine little beings that they are. She's witty, she's raw, she's got Gen X sarcasm laced with goddess-level downloads. And when she speaks, it's like she's channeling some hidden scroll from a lost civilization, but in lip gloss and gua sha crystal, of course. This woman isn't just talking about esoteric topics. She embodies them. She's a writer, an artist, a truth seeker, a passionate advocate for animal rescue, and someone who isn't afraid to call it like it is style. So whether she's decoding ancient texts or making you laugh until you snort oat milk, Cristina Bruno, aka The Muse, is one of those rare souls who brings both depth and delight to every conversation. So let's welcome to the show, the one and only Cristina Bruno. Cristina, how are you?
Thank you for having me. You nailed that introduction, didn't you?
I did. You
know
what? This is an absolute honor, a pleasure. I started off like most folks, a fan, and to have you gift your time to be here on this show, it humbles me and I'm sitting in gratitude. So thank you so much.
Be one better. This is my first ever podcast I've been on. Yes. I've been invited to several, but you are my first. Did that come out wrong?
Yeah. No, I love it. So we can say, and I may edit.
No, you have a great energy. We're on the same frequency. We're definitely synced for sure.
Yeah. I love it. I appreciate you. And I appreciate the gems that you're about to drop today. Folks, there isn't, as you guys know, with this podcast, we don't have scripts, all right? But today, I'll be honest with you, I put couple of questions together because I want to make sure that in this rare opportunity to have Cristina Bruno on the show, I want to make sure that I also ask some of the questions that maybe you might be thinking as well. And hopefully, Cristina, that your audience might even get to see a little bit other side of you. What do you think?
A lot of people were very excited that I was going to be on your podcast, and they were already asking questions. I'm like, it's not my podcast, it's it. This time, I'm only here to answer the questions, which I love, because it just puts you in a relaxed position.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, just relax, be easy. This is going to be fun. So let's actually dive into this. So Cristina, before we dive into the cosmic deep end, right? How did your journey into all things Anunnaki begin? Was there a spark that opened the door for you?
Basically, this goes all the way back from when I was a child, where I was where you first have your memories, your 4 or 5. This is when you start retaining your memories. And as far back as I can remember, I had these memories that were like past life visuals, like these little glimpses of memory. But because I was raised in a Catholic family, everybody would tell me that it was just my imagination, right? Because I'd go and I'm like, hey, last night during my dream, I flew. Or when I'm in second grade, I'm in Catholic school with all the nuns, right? And they're explaining history of the pyramids. You have little old me going, no, the pyramids are not tombs. They produce energy. And I'm going on and on and on with these conversations. And I swear, like, they were shocked. It was like deer in headlights. They were just looking at me. And I'll never forget my second grade teacher, Mrs. Fisk. She's no longer with us. She was amazing. She was like, come with me. And she's like, so what? And she wanted to know more about it, right? And so this is how it all started. People would tell me it was my imagination, that I had a great imagination, that I should write books when I grew up. Hence, that stuck in my head. But I didn't know about reincarnation because of how I was being raised Catholic, right? They don't tell you that there's that possibility. So I just didn't understand why I had all these memories in all these different places. It just didn't make sense until I got older. Once I got older and I was introduced to Buddhism, thanks to Richard Gere, Tina Turner, they were promoting it as their religion. I was like, wow, wait a second. Now that makes sense to me. Because for me, it wasn't my imagination. When you imagine something, you have to like concentrate, think about it, and produce it. No, my memories were just coming at me. And as a child, when I'm 6 or 7, what do I know about the pyramids? Like in one of my memories, I saw a mammoth dragging rocks, the big boulders. I'm like, a mammoth. Weren't they supposed to be extinct by then? And then I saw the bigger people that were like the royalty. People here call them gods. I call them royalty because that's the feeling I have for them, right? The Anunnaki. And but at the time, I just didn't know. I just see these glimpses, these pictures, these things. So once I grew up and the memories kept on getting more vivid, I said, hold on. I'm going to start researching ancient history to see if what's in my head actually happened or if it is my imagination. Lo and behold, thanks to watching like Billy Carson's conferences on YouTube, Gaia TV, things like that actually had people that knew what they were talking about. I was like, oh, let me go see this. And this is when I came about the Zachariah Stitchin book. And so I get these books, right? This is me reading the book. The story, my memory are in these books. So when people are like, oh, well, Zachariah Stitchin was debunked. By who? Not by me, because how did I know what he was writing? How do I already know these stories? Like, I don't know exactly, like, all the details, like, when I read in the book. But there was, like, the beginning, the middle, and the end. I already knew the stories. And for me, that was just the biggest validation, the biggest illuminated moment. Because that means that the stuff is real. But then, of course, there's the stick between the wheel. It's not peer reviewed. Like, our mainstream history says that there is the Darwin theory, which, to be clear, is a theory. That's why it's called the Darwin theory. It's not set in stone. It's what they theorize happened. And a lot of old men said, well, you know what? Maybe it's that. You know what I mean? Or they knew the truth and didn't want us to know the truth. Or they were just too ignorant to connect the dots and add the things up. Because you have a bipedal hominid monkey, and then the next day you have clean-cut Homo sapiens sapiens with no hair. You know, it just doesn't make sense. And even the structure of our hands and everything. If you read like what scientists say, there is at least a millennia missing of evolution between the bipedal hominid and Homo sapiens. There should be thousands more. It just doesn't happen overnight. And then, if you go and look at the Sumerian stories in history, it just makes sense. You have this extraterrestrial race of superior beings, thousands and thousands of years ahead of you, that are just on another level, that come here and grab that little hominid, mix their DNA with it to create the perfect worker race. That's another story, long story. That's a story in per se, but that makes sense. There's your answer. There's the answer of the famous question. And same thing goes with the Bible stories. There are certain Bible stories you never understand. They just don't make sense. How did Eve come from Adam's rib? What does that even mean? Like, I'm just saying, like, I'm looking at grown-ups and I'm like, are you all dumb? Like, does no one ask themselves these questions? What does it mean? Grabbed it from the rib. But then you go on the Sumerian part. Of course, this comes with years of reading and reading. Then you catch these things. You're like, ah, that's what it means. It wasn't the ribbon per se. It was the bone marrow. Because guess what you get out of the bone marrow? Do you know? DNA. There you go. Basically, Eve was literally a piece of Adam. It has his same DNA. It could, what if it's like Eve is like almost a clone of Adam type of thing? To use the same DNA? Or would be like a twin sister? I don't know. But that makes sense. Like, and with a scientific perspective now, going and creating Eve from Adam's rib makes sense if you're going to get the bone marrow to extract the DNA to create this similar being. Right?
I always thought that when I heard that story about the rib, I thought, that they took the actual rib, like the actual
But
bone.
why?
But exactly.
why?
But there was no explanation past that.
Exactly. But then, lo and behold, you go back thousands of years and they're giving you the exact explanation.
That's weird.
That's it. That's it. I mean, for me, it was just like, okay, so here are all the answers we need.
Let me ask you this. What made you, as you were getting these visions and these assumptions and ideas of what you were seeing, how did you know to go backwards in time to look for this information? Was there anything?
It's almost like I'm an intuitive empath. So, like, I feel things and, like, I don't see or hear spirits, but I'll get, like, thought packages. Like, the thought comes directly in my head and I'm not reading, someone's not saying it. It's just instinctively what I did. Like, it was the only thing, like, let's say you're, an investigator, right? You have to find out things. For me, the only way to find out if what I'm seeing as memories, if it really happened, was to actually go look for it in history. Now, since I'm seeing the places around me, and as I said, and the pyramid that I used to see, they were golden. They were shiny. They weren't rocks like they are now. So I'm thinking that right now those rocks are calcified
Damn.
by time, by weather, by everything.
I didn't even think about that. That little gem. I think some of you, as soon as Christina said that, you guys probably reacted like I did. I was like, "Oh shit!" Because they calcify. Go for it. Yeah.
They were shiny. They were shiny. I'm looking. The visual I have that everything is very shiny and bright. And so I knew I had to go looking through Egypt. And what I didn't know is that of the Sumerian history. It was like, I grew up in Italy. I was born in America, but I grew up in Italy. My father's Italian, and I did school back and forth. There's a lot of mythology to study over there. So I was totally into the Greek and Roman mythology already. But what I had never heard of was the Sumerian mythology, which for me is ancient history. There is no myth there. They can call it what they want, but for me, that is the true history of our planet.
Hey, it's Cesar, the host of your favorite podcast, Beyond the Frequency 369. What if the truth has been hidden in plain sight all along? My new book, Cesar's Chronicles, The Anunnaki in Us. It's more than a fantasy. It's a gateway into forgotten truth pulled from ancient texts and hidden history. Through Cesar, an Anunnaki being, you'll see a version of humanity's origin that challenges everything you've been told. It's written for curious minds, young and old, and it's out now. Grab your copy on Amazon, $8.99 for the ebook, $13.99 for a paperback. Use the link below or scan the QR code. Your support keeps this show alive. So, what if your reality isn't the whole story? Are you ready to challenge your reality? Let the journey begin.
He just answers every question of the Bible, every question that's connected, everything that's connected to my past life memories. And I don't like to say me a lot because it's ego-based, but it's the only way I can express it right now. Like, I am embodying this experience right now. So this is me. I was obsessed about it. I was obsessed. And then there was another thing that was really funny. You know how you see those little tests online? If you have this, there were these feet, and it was showing toes. And when I looked at it, my toes were Egyptian. I'm like, what are you talking about? Italian. But Italy was colonized by the Moors, by the Turks, by the Vikings. So you have a little bit of everything there. And I said, I betcha that there is something about Egypt in my DNA. Because why do I have these Egyptian feet, right? My father has too. I have the same feet my dad had, and he's very dark also. So I decided to do my DNA with Ancestry. And another thing, the reason I wanted to do that was I wanted to see. Now, I know we can be reincarnated in birds, plants, whatever, any ethnicity, but I just said, I want to see if the places where I have my past life memory come up in a DNA chart. I had a theory. I had a theory about a blueprint, about bloodlines. I was just, again, intuitively, I'm going to these things. And then the more you research, the more other people are saying what you're saying, what I'm assuming. And I'm like, wait, we can't all be just imagining this, right? There has to, if people that are important people are saying the same things that I'm saying, and I'm saying them not because I learned them anywhere, it's because I'm coming up with it, and then they're validating it. So for me, it was just every day my mind is, so I did my DNA. Guess what? Every place, and even more of where I had a past life memory was coming up. And I'm talking about the Mediterranean, Arab culture, a percentage of Egyptian. But what I didn't expect was the Viking, the Nordic blood. I'm like, well, my grandmother, even though she's from southern Italy, is blonde with blue eyes. I just thought, this is one of those Viking pirates that came in, pillaged, got people pregnant, and we're the descendants of them, right? At least my grandmother. She was also very tall for a woman from southern Italy. Hence why I'm not short. So, but you know what's funny? Have you ever watched the TV series Vikings?
I have.
Ragnar, right? Every time that they went into a fight, I felt like jumping into the TV screen to go fight with them. It was insane. I'm like, why am I doing this? I just felt so connected, right? So when I found that in my DNA, I'm like, I'll bet you anything that was my DNA memory. That's why I'm feeling it. Maybe I was there. And so when you start seeing the DNA chart, past life memories that are really in books, you start doing the math and you're like, oh, okay then. And so I decided to start sharing what I read with other people because it takes years to do this. It takes years. And there are a few others that do it, but they're really fixated with proving to people that it's true. So Zachariah Stitch and Billy Carson, you'll see their books and they're like, so this is the evidence of this, and they'll connect the dots for you. And for me, that is also boring. I just want to hear the story. And I'm going to tell the story. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call it, let's say I'm for advanced class. I'm for the advanced class. Like if you want to know why and what's the source, no, do not come and watch my stuff. No. But if you want to hear the story, that's when you're going to love what I have to say because it's stuff that you're never going to read. Like, I don't think other people are going to sit there like 13 hours nonstop reading the history of Nibiru, what happened there, the kingship and everything like that.
Yeah.
For me, I ate that up.
Let me add on to that because I love the fresh take that you do when you pass this information to everybody because correct me if I'm wrong, before there were schools, and I'm not talking about mystic schools, just before there was like academia schools, there were stories. That's how you pass down knowledge, just by stories. That's exactly the art form that you're doing to pass this information. And you're not saying, well, here's the connect the dots here, like you said, here's the evidence. That's what everybody else
Don't care.
is doing, you know?
What they believe? Well, you probably already know this. Even your viewers or mine probably already know this. But we don't have to convince people of what we believe. Our job is to plant a seed. What that person does with that seed, that's their choice. Maybe in their soul contract, it wasn't meant to be that in this lifetime they understand aliens or this or that. And so they're never going to resonate with it. You need to attract people that want this, right?
Yeah.
Like I always call it my tribe. So I'm not looking to convert people that don't believe in these things or that think that we're all nuts. they can think we're crazy. It still doesn't make it any less true than what we're saying is true. You know what I mean? It doesn't make it any less real,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. You're
So,
absolutely right about that.
so I just leave everything that is. And so for those people, you know what I say? Take it as a story. Take it as I'm telling you a story. It's always a cool story. And then they get hooked. So
There it is right there. There's right
yeah,
there.
that's my gift.
There's so many stories out there, and there's also 10 people can tell the same story, but one of those deliveries just hits people just a certain way, and it makes them, like you said, curious, and they're like, just something about the way she said that story had me going, because we can
It
hear
resonates.
it
It
resonates.
resonates.
We can
They
hear a lot
feel
of
it.
people talk about the Anunnaki all day, but there's certain people that really drive you in. Like for me, and a lot of the folks should probably know this already. For me, there's two people that really drove me into the Anunnaki stuff. And one was Billy Carson, all right, before he started going in politics, and you. And the way you tell your stories, the way you present them, the way you depict them, the way you pronounce things, your performance on telling these stories, that is the original art form to pass knowledge. And I
Want to
accept
know
and
why though?
absorb it. Please tell
You
me
want to know
why.
why? Because I was there. Because I saw it. That's why I can tell the story the way I do. I think I was the first one ever to, and I went viral with these videos where I connected the dots between Lilith and Ishtar and Inanna and Lamashtu and all these entities. Like people thought that Lilith was only from Jewish mysticism. And then I opened a huge Pandora's box and I'm like, she was one of the OGs. She was around in first Anunnaki time period. She's mentioned in the Epic of Gilgamesh. And thanks to the Epic of Gilgamesh, I was able to tell people, I'm like, look, you guys are saying that Inanna and Lilith are the same people, but you can't because Lilith is Lamashtu, technically, one of the first humans that then was not obedient and she wasn't cast out. She ran away. And they told her, if you don't come back, you're going to turn into a demon, meaning you're going to be a savage. You're going to turn feral. You're going to be eating carcasses. You're going to imagine if you go from being in like the Garden of Eden civilized like facility into the desert. You're going to go savage. That's what they mean by you're going to become a demon, right? So, see, that's exactly how I see it. And again, why do I know? I don't know. I just think that I just feel and remember that I was there and this is how we lived it. So I think that that's what's more convincing about my stories than other people because other people are guessing and I'm telling you based on my memory. Just a lot of people never knew that these were based on my memory. Then is there validation in the books about it? Yes. Was there validation in the books about it? Yes, absolutely. So I love the fact that Inanna and Lilith cannot be the same person because in the Epic of Gilgamesh, they were both two different people. And that was like, the Epic of Gilgamesh is the oldest, if not one of the oldest scriptures that we have of human civilization, right? I mean, I think Carson said it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, for some of the folks that even my audience, for some of the folks that aren't too familiar with Gilgamesh, in a brief way, can you just kind of enlighten us?
Yes. Okay. So the Epic of Gilgamesh Gilgamesh is a demigod, meaning he is half human and half Anunnaki. And here we go into, I've actually made videos about the first gen and second gen and third gen Anunnaki. The first generation Anunnaki are Anunnaki that were born on Nibiru, right? And then came on Earth. Second gen Anunnaki are the ones that are the children of pure Anunnaki from Nibiru, but they were born on Earth. Third gen Anunnaki are the children of the children born on Earth, but they're still Anunnaki royals, not mixed blood. Gilgamesh's mother was a third generation, born on Earth, of an Anunnaki royal that was also born on Earth, but not mixed with humans. So his dad is the human and he is part god. Now, Enlil decided to give him a city to rule, and it was the biggest city that there was. But everybody's like, Gilgamesh is such a hero, such a hero. But he was actually like a really bad tyrant. Like he had certain laws Like, if you were to be married, he'd have to sleep with your wife the night before the marriage. Like, that's bad. Like, that's nasty. How dare you? And who's going to stop him? He's a demigod. He's 10 feet tall. The story clearly describes him as being huge. In one of the carvings, he's holding an adult lion and it looks like a little kitty cat. Literally, they were saying, who could stop him?
Wait, wait, wait,
He
wait,
was
wait, wait. I gotta interrupt. Okay. I'm compelled to ask this question because I know that somebody out here is thinking about this. Tell me again the measurements of Gilgamesh, and then how does
reading your mind.
how does that
How did somebody that's a giant like that reproduce with a woman that's normal? Is that what
talk to
you're
me?
thinking?
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Yeah. I've asked myself that so many times. I'm sorry, I don't have an answer, and I'm going to burst out laughing because how does a 10-foot tall man with proportionate appendages reproduce with a human woman that's like, I don't know, the tallest that you want a woman back there, 5'8", 5'9"? Even if humans were 6 feet tall, that's still a huge difference. I've always thought of that. Or like when they talk about the daughters of men that hooked up with the fallen angels, or the GG, whoever, whichever story you want, that they made the 400. I did a video today about the giants, 150 feet tall giants. Like, how are they having those babies?
See, and none of that makes
Makes
sense.
no
None of
sense.
that makes sense. But I interviewed a couple of episodes back an author of the Genesis 6 project, Gary Wayne, and he spent 40 some years, just all about the giants and the Nephilim. I asked him this question because he's more towards the research of the Bible, specifically, and his response to that was that he says that they would take the women and like strap them in this thing and turn them upside down, and then they would like basically just pour their semen with some tool in there to then impregnate them, and then they didn't care about the women surviving. They like these giant beings
No,
birth
they
out.
love those women. They married those women. The
Yeah.
stories say it. They married those women. They loved those women. They stayed on Earth during the flood to not leave them alone. I've heard these stories, and that's very the biblical part. But remember, anything that is biblical is dumbed down, chopped down, and makes no sense. And also was created to fit a narrative of how that religion was going to go, and that was a control system. Because for the first 300 years of Christianity, between one town and the next town, they didn't even teach the same thing. No one knew how to write. They didn't know how to write. They didn't have scriptures. They were just mouth to mouth, word to word stories. So if in this little town we knew something and the town over, it didn't mean that they were learning the same thing. It was just when the Council of Nice came around and decided, okay, we're going to decide what's going to go into here, into our story, and what's not. And that's also when they started plagiarizing the Sumerian stories of creation because they didn't have their own story. So they put their mono god in a story that was actually God plural with Enki, Enlil, Anu, Ninurta, and all the rest, all of them. And that was just like culturally appropriating. Like, you took those stories, made them your own, and so did everybody else. But at the same time, I have a conspiracy theory about that it's all Anu's fault, because after the episode of the Tower of Babel, then we're going to go back to Gilgamesh, because I didn't forget. After the episode of the Tower of Babel, when they were creating a spaceport, not a tower, the Anunnaki were like, oh, holy cow, oh, these humans know how to do this. They're going to surf. Holy shit, what are these monkeys doing? See, like, I'm living it. I'm expressing to you how I feel they felt, right? So if somebody is a normal researcher and they're not an intuitive empath or something, how are you going to do that? I can channel their feelings. I can literally feel them freaking out. They're, oh my God, it's like if your dog started doing that. I'm like, what? My dog's creating a spaceship? You know what I mean? That's how they felt it. So that's why religion started branching out. It was just like, okay, we got to divide these people. We have to change their language. We have to change their culture. We're going to give you each a religion, create your own laws, create your own people. Here's your kingdom. Separate them all. They can never again be united, because at the time, as the story goes, we all spoke the same language And I also believe personally that we had intuitive abilities of reading each other's minds, a little bit like the dolphins and stuff. For me, that makes sense. And then everything was started being chopped down. Then you started getting your DNA, and the telomere caps all of a sudden are limiting your lifespan to 120 years. Methuselah was 946 years old when he died. Like Moses, these other people, these people lived until they were about 1,000. Adam was divorced from Eve for 150 years is the story. And in the meantime, he hooked up with Lilith and another thing. Go back to Gilgamesh because I did not forget. So Gilgamesh was there getting all the brides. He was just being a douche. So the people made a plea to Enlil and said, "We asked for a king and you gave us a tyrant." So the gods, I call them the royals. I really don't see them. They're not gods. They're just the royal family of Nibiru. So just think about like really pretentious elite, right? They're like, okay, well, and then now I don't remember which goddess it was. They went to a certain goddess and said, "Can you make someone to be the pair of Gilgamesh?" Had to be just like him. Now, here's where the weird part is. She wants to create him like, and I think they're talking about a clone because they're talking about a twin. Has to be identical to him. But when they create this being, his name is Enkidu, and he's all full of hair. Like, you know those people that have that disease where they have hair all over their body? They're describing that. They're describing a Gilgamesh, but that is covered in hair. So, of course, they're giving him horns and everything later on in stories, but he never had horns. Horns were headdresses, and they imply royalty or importance. So when you see people with horns, it doesn't mean that they were a demon. That's the ignorant thing. That's the religious thing that came after. Horns means royalty. You are an important person if you put. So imagine, let's say I'm the goddess Aphrodite, right? And I want to go on a boat ride. I'm going to put a nice headdress with my big horns on. So when I go by and say hello to the people, they know that I'm their queen, that I'm their goddess. I have to be more important than them. What am I going to go around just with a little toga like the other girls do?
Yeah.
You
I
see?
love that
That's the mentality.
I love that you explained that, Christina, because a lot of people that, read these old texts, they take it so literal with every word, every sentence, not giving one extra thought that, what we understand now, they didn't know.
They're going blindly. What I want old primitive people that didn't even know that they had to wash their feet. You know what I mean? They didn't know that they had to wash their hands. They didn't know what a germ was. And you're taking their word over what you can analyze and come to your own conclusion now. It's ridiculous for me. That's why when I tell people, when these people say that we're the strange ones, yeah, it's better to be strange than boring and ignorant and just like indoctrinated. For me, that's insane. Again, the story of Adam and Eve and the rib. Doesn't my story make so much sense? It's not my story. It's the Anunnaki story. Like, I didn't make this stuff up. I'm retelling the story. I was just so happy when I finally understood that.
Yeah.
You can't believe, you have no idea.
And what's funny is the way that you just also said that when you got that missing piece of the puzzle and it resonated, it made sense to you. This is how everybody feels that get that piece of the same puzzle. They feel that way, and it's hard to deny it. So, it's like if you can't
people
deny
just
it.
need to catch up.
What's
They just
that?
need to catch up. The other people just need to catch up. So we need to
Yeah,
feel bad for them. They
right.
don't know. They
Right.
don't know.
And it's okay because everybody has their own speed, to get to that destination and stuff. But for if somebody is trying to make sense or answer a gap that no one else can answer for you, just listen to them. But don't ridicule them. Don't call them crazy. Don't call them
Exactly.
insane because it's wrong. It's wrong.
You know what I do? Being an intuitive empath, I like feel energy and I also reflect it. So if someone were to say that to me, I turn around and I say, okay, so basically what you're saying is that you're not evolved enough to understand the concept of logic that I'm telling you, but yet you want to teach me. Gotcha. That was adorable. Well, good talk. And you just ridicule them back in a classy way. but show your dominance because you are. Right now, we are the dominant species. Why? Because we have heightened abilities and they don't. So I feel bad for them. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. No,
like,
I
look,
hear.
as I said, I do not impose my belief on anyone. I'm not even, you know me, I even keep my psychic things kind of like in the closet, tucked away. Like, I'll say it when I need to say it, but it's not going to be my identity or my label. It's just something else. A lot of us have them, but we can't say it or, you're cuckoo.
Once you come out with that, you are automatically labeled, stamped. What do they do when they stamp like a cow or a bull?
Or a scarlet letter. A scarlet letter.
Yeah, you
Remember the
get a
scarlet
scarlet
letter that they
letter.
put the
Yeah, you get, and it's like immediately, no
wear that
matter.
scarlet letter with pride then.
Yeah, you could be like friends with a group of people for like 2, 3 decades. And the moment that you say, "Hey guys, I think I'm seeing things," they're like, "Oh, what happened to her?"
I don't do that. Well, you know what I do with people that I know when I want them to know? Start reading their mind. Because it happens all the time. I don't even do it. I don't do it on purpose. So if I'm sitting, this was a situation that really happened in between my girlfriend, her husband, and another girlfriend of ours. I start picking up that that girlfriend has a thing for the husband of the other one. I'm like, so now what am I going to do? Do I tell her? Do I not tell her? So I waited. Then things started to unfold on their own. And I'm like, I was right. So then I'm like, well, excuse me, just so you know, this is what I think is happening. But after things already happened, because I don't want to be the first one to say anything. But they recognize that in me. They know because I proved. This is why I say when people say I'm somebody, I am this, I, especially these new age gurus with shaved heads that are telling you the galactic federation, me, I'm so special, I'm chosen. No, you're not chosen. No one chose you. Who chose you? Because now we're mixing biblical things with spiritual things. Plus, originally they were called the children of light. They weren't even the chosen ones, the Starseeds,
Okay.
which the wanderers. They exist. We are them. So many of us are, but it's a lot of the new kids are kind of like LARPing into it, which is fine. But then they make up things for clout, and you're distorting the whole message. So I don't know if it's more bad than good. You're distorting the message.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
we're not supposed to be ego based. You're supposed to be doing something. So what are you doing? What are you doing to change the world?
Right. That's a great question. Yeah. What are you? How are you contributing? Let me
Yes.
ask you this, Christina. What's a new age term that doesn't resonate with you that you hear people say a lot?
What's chosen one? Who chose you? God? Which God? Did he talk to you? Do you hear voice? As I said, and this is not just coming from me. This is coming from a lot of people that are older than me too, that have been around way more before this became popular, right? This is coming from me and people that we were saying these things when it wasn't popular, okay? When we were fighting to have the message heard. We all believe that we're volunteers. Like we feel it. Like I feel like I feel it to the point that I almost joined the army. And then I said, wait a second, this isn't my life in this lifetime. I'm remembering something and I'm just remembering it. I'm not supposed to live it right now. Right. So I do believe that like these star seeds are like an army force. Okay, now we're going to volunteer. We're going to go incarnate on Earth. But okay, the downside is we're not going to remember. I'm one of the lucky ones. I remember a lot. Some of us do remember. But you are like a force, a special force that came to Earth. You embodied into these families that you're like, who are these people? You really feel out of place and you're like, my family doesn't feel like my family. You miss a home that you don't know where this home is. And you're like, well, what's going on? Right? A lot of us feel like that. I was one of them. No, how do you say that? No shame in my game. It's how you realize who you are. It's how I connected the dots.
Wow. Wow. What a interesting way to understand what a star seed is. If you're out there listening or watching this, driving your car or doing some work out in the yard, if you tell me if you agree with Christina's perception or idea of what a star seed is, in this case, from what I understand, what you're saying, it's kind of like the first wave that volunteered to come here and help people wake up.
Lots of missions. We're not all here with the same mission. Okay. There's the Navy, there's the SEALs, there's this, there's that, right? There are different army forces. Imagine that for Starseed, different divisions. Okay. Some come in a wave of peace and kumbaya that they just want to raise vibrational frequencies, and you feel better when you're around them. Others are going to come like the freaking rebels. We're gonna break the system. We're gonna destroy. We're the disruptors, right? Like, you don't scare me. We're the crazy ones. We're the rebels, right? Different category, same kind of it, but it was just a different division. So they're the ones that are going to come and break the system. They're the ones that are going to come and peacefully bring you into, like, I don't know, they could teach you about the chakras and things like that. And other people, everybody has their own mission. In my case, I feel like I had to bring the truth of who the Anunnaki are so that you all understand that your religions are manipulating you, right? I'm going to give you the possibility to ask yourself that question. Then it's your choice what you want to follow with your heart, right? In my case, I think 90% of the people that watch my videos, they resonate with it. Like, TikTok has been trying to take me down for 5 years. Every year it shuts down one of my huge accounts, and I just keep on popping back up. I'm just like a dandelion. You can get rid of me, you know? And everybody's there looking for me. Where'd she go? Where'd she go? They already know the story. So we're not going anyplace. It's like we started something and we're going to finish it. Because as I said, we're the disruptors. We're the rebels here. Everybody has their specific mission. Me, I'm wired that if you tell me I can't do something, I have to do it 10 times more. I have to. Doesn't that sound like a blueprint you'd put into someone that needs to come here and disrupt? Don't listen. Don't listen. And that's why I'm saying we all have a certain thing to do. What I don't believe in are people that are shaving their heads, trying to look like an alien as much as possible, making the weird little voices, and saying that they're giving you messages from the Galactic Federation. But at the same time, all of these people are giving you different messages.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the folks that like are, I forgot what they call it, body morphia, something like that? The people that are changing
Body
their body.
dysmorphia and
Yeah. Yeah.
body dysmorphia. Well, I think that they're more like larpers. They're larping. They like you know how anime, you go to a convention of the anime
Yeah.
and everybody dress up like
Yeah.
their favorite anime. That's what I think they're doing.
They're trying to play a role that they're actually not.
They're playing a role.
Okay.
They may like it so much that they have convinced themselves that they are that. But if you like start talking to like the boomer hippies and the OG wanderers and Starseeds, we're all gonna be like, that's kind of cringe.
Yeah.
We don't get that. Plus, what are you changing? Besides everyone saying the same thing, what are you changing? I'm a Starseed. Okay. What are you doing? Like, tell me what you're doing as for your fulfillment of your
Well,
mission.
it looks like they're just changing their exterior.
They're just dressing up, they're going to raves and they're dancing and not using deodorant. Everybody, if you go to a rave, everybody's a Starseed there. Everybody, I'm chosen. And then and I'm like, don't say it, don't say it. And then, who chose you?
Yeah, who chose you?
I am vicious. Unfortunately, I swear, I don't even do it up. I try not to be mean. It just comes out that way. It's just like, who chose you? Who?
Yeah.
God,
Let me ask you
God,
this. Let me
his
ask you this.
name.
I love,
Forgot Gilgamesh back there. We're like, through Gilgamesh. I mean, yeah.
no, you're good. I love that you're so confident in who you are. And
I was
but
there.
even though you do this, even though that's how you come out and everybody sees, you're a sweetheart on the inside. You
Very
love
humble
things.
also. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah. And that's the side that I'm hoping that other people like see that, because I mean, I see that here too. Talk to me
Yeah, no,
about that side.
another, my daughter says that I forgive too much. And I'm like, but I want to. I want to give you a chance to be better. I want to heal you. It makes me feel good to know that I did good to you. If you see, like, if you grab every ex I ever had, they're still madly in love with me. And they're like, oh my God, thank you, thank you, thank you. I fixed them. I fixed their life. I fixed their perspective of life. And then when I feel that they're like good, like I mold it, I'm an artist. I mold, I sculpt, I paint. When I feel that I've completed the piece, that's my time to move on. And they just don't understand it. And I'm like, no, my time here is done. I need to leave. And it's not because I don't care. This was just not my final destination. Like yeah.
But it's not just you, Christina. A lot of people do that. A lot of
Okay.
people, they come
Maybe
in.
see what I mean? A lot of starseeds have healing abilities. You're going to attract the narcissist. You're going to attract the broken people. You're going to attract the abused children. You're going to attract the people that have had their heart broken by other people. You're going to attract that. You know why? Because you can heal them. It's not going to be with shooting lights and razors coming out of your hands and like, it's not going to be like Harry Potter. You have healing abilities. They're invisible to you, but you have the ability to make those people whole again. And isn't that nice? I mean, I think it's beautiful. So that's what I try to do. And at the same time, I do the tough love thing. Like I will be vicious if I need to be, but then don't worry. When you need me, I'm there and I'm going to come whenever you call. Like even if you don't see me for 10 years and in 10 years you need my help, yes, I will drop things and I will do that. I don't know. I'm wired this way.
Let me ask this,
It's
Christina.
wiring, the blueprint.
It's in your blueprint, right? So a
Yeah.
lot of starseeds, they feel alone, and they always feel like there's not a starseed next door to them. Like they feel like starseeds are like always spread out. Why do you think that is? Why do you
The reason.
think that they feel like
Yeah.
they're alone? And why do you feel, even though we know there's a lot of starseeds out there, why do you think people still feel like they're too far to reach?
Tell you from my point of view, when I thought that I was the only one on earth because we didn't have the internet and we didn't know that there were other people out there. So like, there's a reason for that. First of all, you have to be put in a certain situation and go through certain challenges to become the person that you are today. If I had not gone through bad things, I would not be such a warrior type of person, right? I wouldn't be this strong. Like I had parents that would fight. You'd see me throw myself in the middle of the fight saying, no, stop. Other kids don't do that. I was like a ninja. No, Neo, stopping the thing. So everybody has to go through certain bad things to become strong. Somebody that is coddled all their life isn't going to become a Jedi. Am I right? Right? So I think that is like, you need that. It needs to be an experience you have to make you become the person that you are today. Why are you alone and why are we spread out? Well, don't we cover more terrain like that? Aren't we covering more terrain? If we were all in the same city, and then what are we going to do? Everybody else? Everybody who's going to take care of the other people? It's just us high-fiving each other and like sword fighting? No, we need to be spread out because you're here for a mission, right? So I'm going to take care of these people all around me and I'm going to show them who I am, giving them the choice. But all you need to do is just like put it in their head. That's it. No one said you need to make them believe. You are not a prophet. That's not your job. So I don't know. Help your neighbor. You see an abandoned animal, get that animal, take care of it. Volunteer, do things for other people. I mean, it can be for people that you know and for people that you don't know, however you feel to that. But I just think that if we're spread out, we cover more ground.
Yeah. Yeah.
We can take care of more area, the territory. I'm going to be here. You're going to be over there. This one's going to be over here.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make sense?
It makes perfect sense.
If we were all clustered together, that would be like,
what are we doing?
A fun party. That would be a fun party.
Starseed party, in one area, but what are we actually spreading? How are we connecting to the other folks?
What are you doing?
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, if these kids are just going to rave and having fun. You're having fun and you're cool people, but you're not actually changing the world. And then everybody's fixated with climate change, but no one studies apparently. Do you know that the entire solar system is raising in temperature? And it has nothing to do with cows and whatever else excuses they're saying here on Earth. The sun is raising its temperatures and it's having these coronal ejections. And it's just like making everything hotter. Every planet in our solar system, the temperature is raising. Do they have cow farts on Mars? I don't know. Why is it happening on other planets? See what I mean? It's more something that they cannot control. So when you hear people saying, oh, it's not true, and you're like, huh? What do you mean it's not true? The icebergs are melting. That's the explanation. It's real, but what's not true is the reason they're telling you it's happening. That is the part that's not true. Oh, it's true. The temperature is raising. I can't wait. When all that ice melts, what if there's inner Earth there? I'm convinced that there's something there.
Absolutely.
You know why? Do you remember a few years ago when Prince Harry and other royals and astronauts and other important people of government went all the way up to Antarctica? Why'd they go there? Why'd they go there?
Technology?
Why did they
don't
go
know.
there? Something happened. Someone called a reunion. That was just a communication, like I don't know how to say it in English. Disclosure, maybe. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Yeah.
Or
So you're
there was
saying like
something.
you're saying like somebody or something in the Antarctic put out the bat signal and they all came.
Yes,
Who
I think
who
that
do you think
somebody
for?
that's in Antarctica ruled something. If not, why do you have all of these government officials and the Prince of England that all went up at the same time? It just didn't make sense. What
Yeah.
are they doing up there?
Yeah.
Is there a club
Well,
up there that we don't know about?
and that
What
and
are
that
they?
whole treaty where they have like all these
Antarctic
countries.
Treaty.
Yeah, that's
The Antarctic Treaty, and that no one can fly over Antarctica. That I truly feel and believe, and there's a whole bunch of mythology that will back this up. And remember, mythology is only a myth because they can't explain it or don't want to explain it, but it's always based on something true. I think that there is an entrance to like an underground. And it's not even that scandalous that I'm saying this because scientists all over the world are finding these pockets underground of inner earth ecosystems with their own animals and fluorescent iridescent lighting that's coming from some weird crystals and stuff or iridescent water.
yeah.
So it's not even so far-fetched anymore. I think that they're drip disclosing it. The China thinks
Yeah.
they're you know how they do it, that they play dumb?
Yeah. What's down there? What is this?
And there's a hole. Are there animals you've never
Yeah.
seen these? And then you never hear about it again.
Right.
So
Right.
big discovery, big sinkholes. Oh my God, there's ecosystems. They announce it to the world,
Then it's
but
gone.
then you never hear about it again. And if you
Yeah.
look it up, it's just like the original articles and that's it.
Yeah.
Why do you think that is? And then all of a sudden, they're telling us that they're bringing woolly mammoths back, that the dire wolves are back, that this is back,
Saber-toothed
and they're going to do this.
tiger. Yeah.
Well, maybe you didn't bring it back, and maybe you found them in those sinkholes, and you don't know how to tell people that that's why they're going to be popping up again.
Were
So
you
it's all a
reading my
cover-up.
mind? Because I was just thinking about that. Okay, you know what? Forget me asking you were you reading my mind. Of course you were reading my mind because
I don't even know when I'm doing this, just so
yeah.
you know.
No, I
Like
know.
when you're talking, the only reason I can tell when I'm reading someone's mind is that if you start talking and I already know what you want to say, you'll
Yeah.
see me smiling.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. I love that too and everything. That's why I'll also I'll just cut it because I want to hear you.
When we were talking the other day, that keeps on happening. And
Yeah.
I didn't realize it. The only reason I realized is because you told me afterwards. You're like, I was thinking of that. And I'm like, I'm good. I'm pretty good.
Yeah, you're really good at this and stuff. And I think this is actually I encourage a lot more people to try to get Christina on a podcast because it'll save you a whole lot of times.
I really am.
Yeah.
I am not. Didn't you tell me that you tried to contact me last year for a podcast?
Yeah, I did.
That I disappeared? I mean, I like you very much, so it's
Yeah.
nothing personal. I kind of run away.
Yeah. Yeah. Christina, I've been trying to get Christina on the podcast for a while, and like I say, I'm blessed. I'm humbled that
It's
she
going to be
finally.
my first podcast, so there you go.
Yeah. So look how it all worked out.
Yes. And even when Billy Carson invited me for the podcast, in my mind, I'm like, I got to do it with you first. Because I
Yes.
don't know why. It was just like this. My mind was set on this, that you had to be the first podcast that I was on. And that's it.
I support this.
Yeah.
And I hope and folks, Christina, do you want to tell folks that, that, how Billy's been trying to get you on his podcast, or?
We just talked. I was supposed to do a podcast with him at 1:00, but I told him, I said, look, I already have this planned with my new friend, and I'm not canceling that. So
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
no, we're going to do it. There was a little bit of a mix up the first time, but he's been very sick. I didn't know that. I mean, if it's true what he told me today, that he had to have an operation and things, so I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. What's kind of weird is that he reached out to me and learned who I was, not because millions of people call me the female Billy Carson, and he didn't see any of my hundreds of videos, thousands of videos that have gone viral. What did he see? He saw the video where I'm calling him a clone. I'm convinced when I made that video, you saw the images I showed you. Did I look like the same person? No.